Hello everyone, Zelrinth here, and today we're going to take a look at Etheria Restart and my thoughts on how you should approach the start of the game when it launches. Right now I'm currently in the beta. Now I didn't push really far in the beta as I'm not a fan of playing in betas where my accounts are going to get deleted after time. I just like to get the feel of how the launch is going to go so I can utilize that as my strategy when it comes into launch. So I'm only level 6 in this. I'm not as far as you'll see a lot of other people within the beta, but I can still kind of get the point across of how you want to approach this. So the first things first is you're going to want to push the story. I mean, that's the immediate thing you do, as much of it as possible, until you reach a point where you can no longer go any farther. And there's a lot of these stopping points. At this current point, it's level 10. I believe there's one that's like level 14. And then there's another, like the chapter after that is like level 20, and so on and so on. So once you get the breaking point, that's where a lot of people are going to be like, well, what do I do at this point in time? You're going to have tons of energy. One of the things that's great about a lot of gacha games is they throw energy at you like crazy to help you kind of push through that initial amount. Now, from what I've seen on the first day, you're going to be able to hit about level 17 if you play everything and play your cards kind of correctly. Now, how you're going to do that is one thing is once you get to that point, I like to look at the Hyperlink Charter. This is going to be kind of your guide in pretty much on what you should be doing at every point in your account. So if you just kind of follow this along, you'll kind of understand what you should be doing. And so there's 5 different ones. I haven't unlocked this last one down here on the beta, but once you get to level 25, you can unlock that one and follow that one as well. But you just kind of go in them, and you'll kind of get an idea real quick on what you need to do. And a lot of these are very easy to do. So, and these give nice rewards. These are all like upgrade rewards for your account. So you're going to want to do these to move through the different trials because you're going to get a ton of materials as you're upgrading your account. And so as you can see here on the Novice one, you just complete the chapter and you get this one at the top. This one, you use 1 upgrade experience item. So just use some experience items on a character and you'll complete this one, giving you some more experience. And you just slowly work your way down these. And once you've completed all of these, you'll then get these rewards over here. And one big thing you're going to see is you're getting basically pulls out of this, which is going to help you progress in getting more characters as well. And then once you complete this one, you'll just move on to the next chapter, and you just slowly move down these. And then you have the same thing with this one. This one's more focused on Leanne, which is your starting free SSR they will give you. One thing is she is very good and really nice to use, so you're actually going to want to push through these. Now, one big thing is down the line, as you probably get your teams more settled with all your other account characters, you may no longer want to use her once you kind of get Expert Training 3 done, which does bring into consideration one thing you can do, and you can do this with not just Leanne, but other characters as well as you're getting more pulls. And that is, there is actually a special event here. And I haven't actually seen this ever in a game before, but this is Animus Reconfigure. Now, this is going to be like the first week, so you're going to be wanting to do this really quickly. Like, as long as you're getting right into the game right at the launch, you're going to be able to take advantage of this within that first week, which is basically just get your first team going. Use whoever's your best of your best at the time, because what this allows you to do is take a character. So say I'm done with Leanne, I can put her in here, and I will get all the resources I have invested into her back. And so this will be more important for the purples. Like, I don't plan to remove everything Leanne gets in the game. So if I actually go back in there, actually at launch, I'll probably end up needing to use at least some purples in the beginning. But I can throw them in here and get the resources I spent on them immediately back so that I can utilize that on the characters that I plan to be using from then on. Leanne is just one of those examples because you do have the Hyperlink Charter that does want you to upgrade her, and you absolutely should for the resources this gives you. And she's great anyway, so I wouldn't even see a reason to have to get those refunded in the first place. But you can work on that. And so these are kind of what you want to use as a guide, but there might be a point where you kind of get stuck where you can't make any more progress on these. Now, it might take a little while to get to that, but if you don't have anything left you can do on there, the next area that I'm looking at are going to be within the challenges. Make sure you're pushing as far as you can get into all these challenges. Now, like I haven't pushed and unlocked all of them here, but basically do everything up to the point where you can no longer make progress. Now, you have to be very careful on these bosses, because if you do fail a fight, it is going to knock you. You're going to lose a little bit of your stamina that you use there. So if you're really trying to min-max that stamina, just know if you lose the fight, you will lose a little bit of the stamina, or if you have to quit out. So just be careful with that, but push as far as you can. Slowly start unlocking stuff and moving forward. And then after that, the area that I have found to be the best use of just a dumping of stamina, if you have really nothing else to do, no more of the Hyperlink Charter to do, you've done everything here that you can do up to the hardest difficulty that you can complete. I have found right now that and actually I don't have it unlocked yet, the Animus XP. Now I did this in the test server, or the last beta, but the Animus XP is a really good one because it's going to make things a lot easier if you can start slowly maxing out these levels, because you can push them up to a pretty high level early on if you just get those XP items and take them up to that max level, because that's just an automatic stat boost there. While with modules and shells, eventually you're going to be replacing with the higher tier ones as you unlock them. So on those, I'm just going to be putting in like whatever works to get my basic set, get whatever best starting substats I get. Once I get to the purple ones, that's when I'll start investing into them a little bit. You don't want to put too much because you do not want to waste your XP or money on the lower ranked ones, because you just basically want to get yourself to mythic level with as little investment in the lower level resources as you can. Now, don't make it mean that you need to hoard your materials and not invest in your characters at all, because the problem then you'll run into is you're not going to be able to make progress within the bosses or that, because they're going to be too weak, and you might even struggle in the story. I learned my lesson on that in the test server, where I was like, I'm just going to save all of my resources, try pushing as far as I can, and I struggled with every fight. So you do want to invest a little bit just to make your life a little bit easier, and it's not going to be the end of the world that those materials, you're going to lose them by the fact that you're going to be replacing those modules. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're just doing that, and that's pretty much it. It's just kind of, after that, it gets kind of to a daily rundown there. And then you also have all the events. You'll just want to make sure on launch that you're doing all the events. You have this one, the candy party one. This one's a pretty simple one. You just come in here. I believe you get like a couple pulls a day, and then you just do this. You kind of roll these, and you just get a little bit of material. So just make sure you're doing this on the daily basis here. That event, you have all these other ones. And you have your check-ins, which I think I forgot to check. I didn't even check in yesterday to get that one. But make sure you're doing your check-ins every day. This event lasts 10 days. I think it's 10 or 11. But make sure you're doing this to get all these, because there's a ton of pulls right here. Help you right off the bat going into it. If you're going to be a spender, you have this one. If you spend $100 within that first day, you're going to get all the way up to here and unlock a bunch of materials there. But yeah, a lot of stuff. And then you have this event as well. This is where you're going to get the free SSR Ling Lu. This is why I said she's a bad one to actually in the pull with the selector. But make sure you are slowly doing these as well. Now, you won't be able to get her until the 7th day. So you'll have to just slowly wait for these to unlock. Now, you're not going to lose out. Like, they're just going to unlock over time. So don't worry if you don't get all of day 1's done on day 1. Or day 2's on day 2, because you can still work on them after the fact. You're always going to have these available to knock her out. And then you have phase 2, which is going to be a free random selector here. I believe that's what this one is. This is, yeah, a random SSR that you'll get on phase 2. That'll come down at another time. This is actually one of the reasons here, after I'm done re-rolling, I will say, because you're going to get this free random one, as much as it sucks, and this is if you want to min-max the game in terms of making sure you don't get dupes, I would not use the targeted summon here until you've gotten that. For the simple fact that that random one could end up being the character you select, and dupes are fairly useless. Now that's if you're crazy like me and want to make sure that you max out the amount of characters that you can in the game. But because of how many summons we were getting thrown at us in the beginning, it's not too big of a deal if you actually use your selector there. That's just if you want, especially if you're free to play, you want to maximize your amount of characters you're getting. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I think it's fairly straightforward, like many other gachas now are kind of doing with these, like they're calling it the Hyperlink Charter. I forget what they called it in Sword of Convalaria, but they had one where you just kind of followed the quest it had in it, and you slowly get materials. It's the same thing here. Just follow these. I think this is pretty much going to always, you should be able to, a majority of the time, be working on these and not have, and you'll have energy issues before you run out of stuff to do, from what I can tell. But like I said, if you do run out of things you can do in there right off the bat, I think the best one, in my opinion, you may get opinions from other people that are a little bit different, but I think if you have shells and modules that kind of are filled on all your main team, then just go for XP, because XP is going to be something you're going to be hurting on a lot later anyway, and it's just going to make your life easier to have a little bit higher level in the beginning in the first place. But yeah, that's pretty much it on it. That's just my thoughts on the start of the game. If you like my content, if you can like, comment, subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.